Hello Sales Nation, I'm Will Barron, host of the Salesman Podcast. In this video, 5 of the world's leading sales and business experts share their thoughts on how we can better account manage, essentially, how we can build deeper relationships and how we can drive more revenue from our best customers. Let's jump right in.
You have to pitch to the individual. At the end of the day, your job as a seller is to get a buyer excited. Now, the buyer is part of a company, right? And that's where the account base comes in. But the account base only gets you to the point of which you understand the account that you're going after. Let's say that you're trying to sell to Amazon, right? And Amazon has a handful of divisions, right? So they have the retail division, they have the web services division, etc. And you need to understand where in that division does the buyer sit and how does the buyer get impacted by your particular product or service. You see what I mean? But that is always in the context of that account. So the account is sort of like, the reason is a bit of a misnomer because the account is just the start of the process. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you any different as a sales guy. You still need to understand the person on the other side of the table and what are the needs and wants. You know what I mean? So account base only gets you sort of the right targeting, and it gets everybody aligned and saying, look, I'm going to put all my marketing dollars and all my sales dollars and all my efforts into those particular set of accounts. But at the end of the day, you're still selling to a person. You know what I mean? That doesn't preclude you from from becoming a great sales guy.
So marketing now creates content. They create the 50 reasons why every salesperson should do ... and they want everyone to download it. But what if instead, if the salesperson said, well, I'm trying to sell to this sales leader at this account, marketing would say, great, I'm not sure this is the right, content for that. Let's sell let's send them the executive guide, to doing ... and let's send it digitally. Then I'll print it out and you'll write a handwritten note and we'll send it via shipping and delivery. We'll run advertisements about this idea so that this person sees it when they're on BBC News or whatever. And that's the difference, right? So in horizontal marketing, it's throw out the net and whatever comes back in, boy, I hope it works for sales. Instead, what they're saying is, well, I know how to do all this stuff. Instead, tell me the accounts and I'll make sure it's relevant to them and I'll make sure they get it. So, I hope that helps. It's actually, I think you said it at the end, it's a middle ground. We're doing a middle ground here, right? We're saying, you're doing all this great stuff. Let's just focus it now on the accounts, and I'm happy to work with you on it. And we can go do it together and go tackle these accounts. And that's really what's happening today. It's really exciting. It's really exciting for sales. I'm just really happy for sales people because that was a miss. And I do think we're about to hit a golden era here of sales and marketing alignment. I think we'll be able to make salespeople's lives a little complicated in the start and a lot easier in the end because their accounts are going to be. We're going to make sure their accounts are tended to, and then it just it allows them to not have to be the one man sales, marketing, you name it.
Why don't more companies invest more in continuing business with existing customers? I'm not sure I know the answer. One hypothesis is that it's a little bit uncomfortable sometimes to follow up with people that you formed, these close collegial bonds with. At least I found that personally. After you get over a certain hump in terms of your early sales training, it's not that bad to talk to strangers and kind of try to convince them to buy. What's harder is, going to somebody that you know well and asking them to open up their wallets again. Also, I think that there's just not enough good reasons that people create to do continuing business, and it often feels kind of forced and awkward, which is a problem that we try to solve. And I think that people get caught up in the projects too, because there's with any engagement there's going to be ups and downs. It's very rare that everything is copacetic the whole time. There's going to be little problems, but overall, even if it's great, there are going to be issues. So I think that's a big thing, is that people, especially salespeople, get a little bit less confident when they're dealing with somebody that's already taken on a product or a service, and you don't really know where you stand. So I think that's part of it. And the other side of it is just kind of an information disconnect. And it just depends on what you're selling, the structure of your organization, and different factors. But you may not really know what your clients think of what they've purchased. So you're kind of just dealing with this black box and just going right back into the same sales scenario that you started with, which isn't necessarily the way to do it. I think that regardless, there needs to be cooperation and coordination between account management and sales. I think that account managers, whether they're also salespeople, hunting new business, need to be trained in sales and need to be incentivized. And I think that if it is siloed, that if you do have somebody winning new business, maybe that's more of the SaaS model and so on, and then that kind of gets shuttled off to an account manager. There needs to be ongoing cooperation between those parties so that everybody knows where things are. And I keep running into, I've run into problems a lot with clients and just other people that I know where, they'll mention offhand, like, you wouldn't believe what this account manager let slip by us almost. There was this huge mid-5-figure website build that they just mentioned offhand like it was anything else. And I say to them, you didn't give them any reason to care. They don't think of themselves as salespeople. They don't know how to look for those opportunities. They don't know what to do when they come across them. So why should they tell you about them? Why should they be on the same page as you?
Salespeople have had territories. They've had named account lists. They've had target accounts. And it's really what we're seeing with the modern selling approach to account-based is that it's not just the sales function, but it's sales development. It's some of the marketing things. It's really an all-encompassing approach to going after a list of targeted accounts that fit your ideal customer profile. And the fortunate circumstance is that today's technology allows us to be more defined over the right type of company that we want to go after. And it allows us to be better, have a better process and workflow to initiate engagements through communication to reach those folks at those companies. And so I think that's what account-based means, is it's taking a target list and doing all the things necessary to convert that ideal customer profile into qualified pipeline.
Trust is the soul of sales. So when people feel they know you, like you, and can trust you, that's when sales start exploding. I believe so. In fact, I tell people that the initial sale doesn't even matter. What you need to focus on is the long-term relationship so that you have a returning and referring clientele. That's my definition of the smooth sale. When you do a job well, take your time, have patience, and really get to know people, that's when the relationship builds and that repeat business happens. Online, you see, with content, you need to be consistent, but our words, actions, and deeds need to be consistent. Everybody needs to be able to identify us in order to refer us. Should we do the best job that they have ever witnessed? And, ask us to be their supplier, their vendor. And it's very important that people know they can count on you. For me, the whole sale begins with each person you meet. Treat them all equally because you never know who they know. In fact, in the down economy, someone I know was able to get the most enviable job in the midst of the big bust. And I asked her how she did it. She said she went online, noticed the guy went to the same high school. They knew some of the same people. Turned out he lived in the same neighborhood. And so just by doing a little research, she was able to make that personal connection. And next thing you know, she asked for an informational interview and he offered her the job on the spot.